Here we have a Remington portable typewriter made by the Remington Rand Corporation and produced in about 1940. It is a Deluxe Junior. We're going to take it apart, do some cleaning on it, and see where we get. First, we need to remove the base plate, which is the bottom of the case that the typewriter came in. There are 4 screws to take off in order to achieve that. Typewriter comes free. You can remove this bottom piece. There's supposed to be four washers between the screws we took off and the rubber piece here, but it looks like some of them are missing. There's one. So the back 2 were there, the front 2 were missing. Let's get a look for the first time at the underside of this machine. Dirty, as you would expect. Everything seems to be intact. Let's take the platen out next. First thing to do is to move the paper fingers all the way to the outside. Then what we're going to do is unscrew this left-hand knob. Not the button on the end, but the left-hand knob. We're going to unscrew it. You cannot do it by holding on to this knob because this is attached to the platen, not attached to the rod, which this right-hand knob is attached to. So get in there with something or do it with your hand and hold the platen tight, and then counterclockwise unscrew that knob. I've already done this, so it's not going to be this easy on an old machine. You may have to do something like put a pair of vice grips or something down there with cloth over them to kind of hold onto the platen and then turn it. But I've already loosened it. So this knob comes completely out. Next, we're going to unscrew. I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a screw in there. Only one, some have 1, some have 2. There's one screw. But you see how the platen has kind of come off of the wood or whatever it's in there that holds the platen. See the space here? This platen should be actually that way up against this piece of metal. So that's kind of causing an issue of being able to get to that screw. I don't want to damage anything, but I'd like to be able to get in and see if I can knock that platen over a little bit. Alright, I went and located a small piece of dowel rod. See if maybe we can get this platen to go back on a little bit so I can get to that screw better. Looks like that will do it. Okay, off came the screw. Where? Okay, pull the right knob off with the rod that goes through the middle of the platen. I want to find that screw before I go any further. There it is. Okay. Now I'm going to lift it up on the right side. I don't want the ratchet mechanism to come off. Oh, it stayed on. Yeah, it's over too much. Okay, I think if I were to do that again, I believe I would take this piece off first. There we go. Never mind. Take them off. See how it works. Nut on the bottom. Oh, there's what it screws into. Ooh. There's what has the threads on the back of that. Goes in that way. Okay. I think I just separate. No. Comes out that way. Okay, comes out that way, and ooh. Got that. Yeah. Spring there. Spring right here. All right. Oh, two washers came out of that side, and it looks like they were probably in between platen and there, or to give it space and fit. Go ahead and take the paper fingers off. Oh, there was a spring there. Tension on the paper fingers. Spring. Okay, I'll get the rollers here in a minute. What I want to do first, let's get the top cover off, get it out of the way so I can see down in there better. 4 screws, 2 on each side. Top off. Washers. Alright, so I had to go and get some different screwdrivers because I'm going to remove this ribbon feed shaft. Normally wouldn't do this, but I think I'm going to end up needing this piece from the left arm right here on another Deluxe Junior I've got, because this is broken off. And I normally wouldn't do it because you could just clean it with it in there. And taking this off means that the whole system is going to have to be readjusted when it's put back together. But I already pre-loosened this. Just didn't have it loose enough. There we go. Now this last one. Loosen it up a little bit more so it goes all the way. Okay. So here we go. Could probably get away with not taking it out any further than that. Let me take it. So much dirt on here, it's hard to get it out. There we go. Now, maybe I didn't have to do that. Good. That nut too. There's a washer in there. I don't think there's any washer on the underside. All right, I'm going to put this back in now if I can. Okay, off camera, I ended up taking the other piece off, so that both sides of the the ribbon tensioners off, and I did have all these loose and couldn't get this out, and it ended up realizing I didn't need to take this out in order to take these two things off. So once I had them out, the problem was that I didn't take it all the way out, I just took it through this one. The problem is that this spring on both sides of this shaft fits into little cups, and those cups under spring tension hold the shaft tight. If you don't have these cups in there with a spring on it, the shaft's a little wobbly in there. So it took forever to get those in. I ended up putting a little grease on them to hold them in while I was manipulating the spring to get it back on. And then I tightened up all these back where they were. No doubt if it goes back, or when it goes back together, these will have to be adjusted slightly. I'm sure of it. But anyway, that's where we are right there. Let's now take the bottom of the body off. So it is these two screws on either side, which are protruding, so it's easier to identify which screws they are. Okay, those 4 screws out. turn it over. The body should slide off, which it does. Okay, just for a moment while we're doing that. That can be cleaned up easily. Let's go ahead and get these rubber grommets out. I think those will clean up and be supple enough to put back in there. As bad as this computer or typewriter looks in some ways, definitely wasn't stored in an area where the rubber's all ruined. Okay, get these out of the way. These bales, rollers come out through a rough area there, so it comes out this way, and then that one comes out that way. Okay. Looks like all this needs to be soaked a little bit. Soak it right along here with Kroll. Okay, get those off, it looks like this will just lift out. All right, we're back. This is the next day, and as you know, yesterday when I was trying to take these front feed rollers off, I was having some issues getting the two shafts out. They were really stuck. So I used Kroll oil on them. Best stuff you can use for getting stuck things unstuck. I let it sit for several hours. As you'll notice, both shafts I've already got quite a ways out because I let them sit for several hours yesterday. Last night came down, checked to see if they were freed up, and they were. And they easily pulled out, but I thought I'd wait until today to show it on video, actually taking them out. I used a punch to get them out, to get them loose. As you can see right here, the punch needs to go in and push on this rod. Same way on both sides to get them out. You need a real skinny punch like this. The regular ones for like nails and stuff like that are too wide, too quick, and won't get down in there and do that. So now I think we're doing pretty good. I believe that these rollers are going to just fall right out as the rod comes out. Okay, there's one rod. Just to push the rollers out. Let's go to the other side here. Second rod. And those two rollers. Something else holding it. Let's see what that is, and we'll go from there. So I was trying to learn how to take off the paper tray here. Okay, so what was determined was that right under here, where we took the initial bars off of, and the rollers, the feed rollers, that this whole setup bar, the under part of it has 2 pins in it also. And you have to pull those 2 pins out, very similar to the way we did with the 2 for the front feed bars. The difficulty is they're very hard to get to. You have to go in right here, right in between this very little space and the L. You have to go in there, and you have to go in about that far in order to get to the rod that holds this side in, and you have to do the same thing on the other side. The problem with the other side is that the line space bar was in the way. So what I had to do was I loosened it up. Didn't have to take it all the way off, but I loosened it up so that it would come around that and get up out of the way, and then I could go right in on this side, very similar to the way we did on the other side. You only have to pull it in a small amount, or push the rod through a small amount in order to loosen the connector on this side. So I've already done that one. As you can see, it is a little loose on that side. So I'm not going to bother to put that back in and show you. It'll be more clear once I get the bail off. But let's do the other side and go ahead and get it out. Now, I'm not even going to attempt to show with the camera what I'm looking at down in there because it's just too dark and too deep. What I ended up doing was I went to Ace Hardware and got a 1/16 inch steel rod, which just happens to be the same size as the rods that are used to hold this in. Okay, see? So I'm going to use that to stick in here, to stick in right there, not very much room, and go over to the right spot and then move that shaft enough in order to be able to get it out. There we go. That's it. So now it can come free. There's the 2 pieces that hold it on. And then if we can get in here now, catch it. Okay, see there? Came in through here. Boy, that's so little. Came in through there, pushed it in through, see it going through, and right there is where the paper, now I'm going through the next one where I could actually take this whole thing off if I wanted to. Same way on the other side, it worked. You can see it there. The issue now I need to figure out is once I get this back on, how am I going to push those rods back in? Okay, there's the way right there. Come back down. So I will need to, before I put that back on after I clean it, I will need to know exactly where to push this down and push it back in. Probably use a screwdriver or whatever to help put it on. So